When I took over as Chief Executive of the Institute at the beginning of 2013, I was always aware that a key part of the role was to develop a strategy going forward, because we had an existing strategy which had one more year to run, so that gave me a bit of breathing space. And a large part of that had been connected to doing work that was government funded, and we certainly knew that government funding wouldn't be available going forward. So that's been a key part of our work over the last year, is developing our new strategy for the next 3 years and for the period beyond that. The first part of that new strategy is reintegration of the two businesses, IMI Awards Limited and the Institute itself. Now, we separated the awarding organisation off 6 or 7 years ago when we became a sector skills council, because we were required to demonstrate a conflict of interest policy so that we could show that we wouldn't give unnecessary favour to our own awarding organisation over other awarding organisations who operated in the sector. That's still something we have to do, but there are other ways of doing it, and having two separate companies has proved to have certain inefficiencies, not least as an example. Qualifications are sitting in one company, accreditations are sitting in another. Well, to the outside world, those are different sides of the same coin, and having them separate just doesn't really make sense. But there are a lot more efficiencies that can be brought from bringing everybody back together. So, as of the 1st of April this year, all of the IMI Awards staff were transferred back into the IMI, so we are one company again. IMI Awards will continue to exist, but we are applying for recognition to become an awarding organisation for the IMI itself. And when that happens, we will gently run down IMI Awards. Honestly, for learners, it will make very little difference. Learners who are currently engaged with IMI Awards will continue to be until the end of their studies. And new learners we take on board when we gain recognition, which we expect to happen at the end of this year, they will be taken on under the IMI. And so over time, one will gently wind down while the other one builds up. But the great thing is that we've got everybody in one organisation, and that gives us the possibility to introduce many organisational efficiencies and benefits, which members will see. The second element of the strategy is business growth through diversification, and that basically means having an open mind to different things that we can do as an institute which will benefit our members and benefit the sector as a whole. One of the things that we've done and that members will already be aware of is the development of the professional register, which moves at a pace, and actually the work we're doing with a lot of big employers is really going to bear fruit there, and we're expecting to go from around about 45,000 people on the register to 200,000 people within the next 18 months or so. What that provides for the sector is something I don't believe anybody else provides. There are some recognised codes for garages, and I have no issue with that, and we're not trying to compete with that. We're about individuals, and what this is saying is, for members of the public, this is how you can find out where the competent individuals work, the people who actually maintain their skills. That's one element, but I mean, diversification is far broader than that. Another thing that I would mention is that when I joined the organisation and I went around and spoke to lots of people, one of the things that came up quite often was it would be beneficial if we could interact with you through some form of distance learning platform, whether it was for CPD or whether that was for some of our centres who wanted to have that kind of contact with us, and various other organisations as well that we have worked with. Now, I can tell members that we have acquired an e-learning company, and information about that will be disseminated to members in due course through the magazine and so on. But that's part of what we mean by diversification. It's looking at different ways to approach what we do and to do it better. The third element of the strategy is creating a commercial culture. Now, I can possibly sense some people reeling back a bit when you talk about commercial, because suddenly people think about, it's all about the profit motive and so on. That's not what I mean at all. A commercial organisation has to be customer focused. Everything they do is worked around the customer. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what we need to be as an organisation. We literally have to stand on the pavement and look back in at our organisation and see how we look to the outside world. Where does it not work? Where does it not fit together? Where is it not easy for people to understand what we do? And to that end, I mean, this will become very recognisable to members, because we will undergo quite an extensive rebranding exercise, and that's about making sure that, you know, today if you go onto our website, actually, frankly, hand on heart, it's quite difficult to navigate. And you can easily find yourself in areas where you're not even sure you're still on the IMI's website. You know, we've got some fantastic resources, but many of them are not identified as IMI resources. So there will be people out there who actually deal with us, but don't know they deal with us. You know, how many people who have ATA, particularly if they've got it through a manufacturer's academy, how many of them actually know that's an IMI accreditation? You know, a lot of people who go on our careers website, where there really are some fantastic resources, but if they're in the world of work or First Gear or one of those other communities, do they know that's the IMI? So, you know, that's part of what I'm talking about. It's being cohesive. It's listening to your constituents, your customers, your members, the people, the other business organisations that we deal with, and making sure that we have a clear and cohesive image and offer out to the sector. The IMI is what I termed, when I came here, almost accidentally an international company. You know, we actually have members in something like 50 countries, and we have centres delivering our qualification in around 20 countries, in some cases on quite a large scale. Malaysia being a good example, and I've talked about that in the magazine. But you know, we're making big inroads into China, and we have some other, you know, big opportunities presenting themselves around the world in the Middle East, Far East, and so on. But the whole point of this is that we've never really had a strategy around it before, you know, and we've never had what I have termed a robust, repeatable model with which we could go into different markets when we're approached. And actually those approaches are coming to us thick and fast, so we have to do that properly. Now, I believe this is a huge benefit to members, because being part of an internationally recognised organisation. Bear in mind that all of our qualifications and our accreditations pass the border test, more than pass the border test. In fact, they're very well recognised around the world. But having that network of members and organisations with which we deal around the world actually opens up opportunities for members, you know, both from a business point of view and from a personal point of view. And it actually adds gravitas to us as an organisation, which in turn, you know, as our profile grows, so does the profile of membership, because being associated with an organisation that has gravitas, you know, gives you gravitas as well. Product and skill solutions, or supporting the sector in a cohesive way, is all about being flexible. It links to what I said previously about being commercial. It's not saying, you know, we have 4 sizes, and if one of those fits you, great. If they don't, sorry, you know, we can't help you. It's about saying, actually, you know, if there's a demand for something, we should be providing it. So if people want to take what we have to offer, but in a way that we don't offer it today, we should be open to that. Blending together solutions, you know. So we, you know, whether it's qualifications, accreditations, quality assured awards, anything that we do, you know, we should be prepared to listen to the sector and say, actually, you know, if we want to be relevant as a professional body, we've got to be quick on our feet. And we have people here, we have incredibly skilled people here and very committed people here who are more than capable of doing it. I've seen that because in the year that I've been here, we've already adopted this approach, and that's why we're now engaged with talking to 29 vehicle brands and the majority of the big retail operations in the sector. So, you know, it's the right way to approach things, and I believe it's the way that we as an organisation can grow in the sector and grow our profile. And again, you know, as I've said previously, that's really, to me, where the true value of membership comes from. It's being associated with something that actually has a voice, something that's substantial and is important. Yes, there are tangible benefits. We know the magazine is good, very good these days actually, and increasingly good. We know there are other benefits we can offer members, but none of those are universally beneficial to every individual, because some people need some of it, some people need very little of it. The real reason for joining a professional body is to show that you are a professional, and if that body has a big voice, then actually that's where you get your value back, because they speak on your behalf. The final element of the strategy is our sector skills responsibilities. Now that's again is a very important part of what we do, because that association with the UK Commission for Employment and Skills and with the Department for Business Innovation and Skills and with government generally gives us the ability to provide really on the minute, up-to-date intelligence to our members about what changes are happening and what they need to do to prepare for them, whether that's in apprenticeship frameworks or other sort of qualification frameworks. But it's and also, of course, it gives us a voice back to government. So when we don't believe government have got it right, we can have some influence there. But again, it's an important part of what we do as an organisation, and it adds to our weight as an organisation and our importance both to the sector and to the world at large. So again, it sort of feeds back into the value of membership, because it makes us a more important organisation and therefore a more important organisation to be associated with. And it's something we wouldn't lightly give up. I actually don't know what the future for sector skills councils is. It kind of depends on what happens with government, elections, which party comes into power and so on, but there'll always be something in this arena, and whether it's a sector skills council or whether it's something else, rest assured we will be there and we'll maintain that voice on behalf of our members. In general terms, to sort of conclude on the strategy, what I've talked about is basically our starting position. It certainly won't. It's not exhaustive as I've described it, because there are clearly many other things that we need to do and will be doing to develop the IMI going forward. One of those elements will be, membership, where we're looking at the value of membership, how we can attract more members, how we can be more relevant to the sector, particularly on the membership side. I mean, we're thriving on the qualification side and the awarding side, but we need to make sure that also translates into membership. And we're always open to feedback. I hope members know and appreciate that. So, any views and opinions that they want to offer us, we will always receive gratefully and will always respond to.